Welcome to another episode of Behind the Lava Lava. I am your host tonight, Mr. Atsumo Mingi, and together with me, we have our regular cast members, Mr. Michael, we have Spencer, and Mr. Milford with us. Tonight, we have a special guest with us. His name goes by Yo Samo. Before I give the opportunity for Mr. Yo Samo to actually introduce himself, his background, there's two things that I really know about you, brother. One thing is you're a handsome guy, and two, you're a funny guy. So go ahead, take it away. The floor is all yours. Talk about your history, maybe your life to this point, meeting us today. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Ati. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time and letting us kind of share our story on here. And hopefully Harris catches up later on. But thank you. First of all, with the handsome comment, I'm looking around on these faces here. I'm realizing that you guys are a lot more handsome than me. So I got a lot more to go in the handsome level. So I appreciate you saying the nice things. But let's see. Yes. So Yo Samo, probably start there. We actually started that whole thing almost like a joke. We Harris and I, and if you guys know the Reed family, so Gabe Reed, and there's also Keola Kiala. He also too. So all four of us were kind of talking about doing something revolving around social media commercials. So we were thinking about going to companies and saying, "Hey, we can do a commercial for you." And I love Super Bowl commercials. Like, that was my favorite part, was always watching the commercials, being how funny and trying to grade who was the best one, who was the funniest. Like, man, it would be hilarious if we did the ridiculous videos for companies, and it was all based off humor. So we started a company called Humor Me Marketing, and we went out with that. And then we kind of stepped back, like, man, we're saying we're going to do humorous videos for all these companies. What if we're not funny? Like how our moms tell us we're funny, but mom's always going to say you're funny. So how do we know we're legit funny? What if we give a horrible product, and we give someone that this is hilarious and no one laughs? We're already dead in the water. So we're like, maybe we should test this out. We should see if we really are funny, or if our moms are just telling us that and we really are just junk. So we decided to put a Facebook page out there and a YouTube channel. And like, what should we call this? And I was like, I don't know, man. And the original idea was that Harris is going to be the cameraman. I was going to be the goofy actor up front, and we just go ham. And my nickname back in college was Samuel. And so he said, "Hey, let's just call it Yo Samo." Okay. So that's what we did. We just call it that. And we put some goofy picture up there. It was me eating some cupcake. I think that's what the picture was stuck, and like half a mouth, half a smile. And we just say, "Hey, who cares? Let's just go for it." And we started making the videos, and we just had a lot of fun, man. I promise you, like, when we watch the videos, they're funny and we crack up. But the most special part of doing these videos is the time spent together with the people. So me and Harris, like, we became like brothers, and we felt like every time we got together, it was like like family hanging out and just cracking up at all our goofy ideas. There's no script most of the time. We kind of have an idea. It'll be funny. What if you do this? And then what if I did this? Okay, let's do it. And we take a video of it. And we start cracking up. Okay, and we went up that. Okay, no, you go around the other side. And so the more we got into it, the more we just had so much fun. And then we've always reflected upon that, is that it's funny, the videos we might have thought they were, that the special time for us was making them, and the memories shared, and the family around us, and our kids cracking up with us, and trying to keep their mouths, their laughs quiet in the kitchen while we're just going ridiculous, and watching the dads kind of be real. That's who we are. We fake in the real world that we're professional, that we're very serious, and then when no one's looking, the real side of the Polynesian humor comes out, and we is just laughing so much. And so that's kind of how all that went down. And the more we got into it, the more we started figuring out you can make money doing the YouTube videos and Facebook videos, and that was generating more income than it was with the commercials. So we were doing commercials for companies, and they were like, that's not too funny, or they would tell us, "Hey, we want to put 27 things inside the video," and like that. Okay, hold up, you got to do like 1, 2, maybe 3 things max to make it so it could stick. And we had this whole algorithm and theory and how to make it work, and it wasn't really meshing well with these companies, and we couldn't find really the profit margin to be that. beneficial to us. And so we just kept on making more videos because that was more fun. There was no rules. Do whatever you want. If people didn't like it, then hey, at least we had fun. And if people did, then hey, cool. We just keep on going and we keep on pushing. And hopefully, like we were saying earlier, someone smiles. Hopefully, it's something that brightens up someone's day. If they're, if it's tough out there, we know world can be kind of crazy, kind of dark. And if it brings a smile, then man, I think that's success. That's success. And we really wanted to make sure that it was family friendly. That if we made it, our kids and our mama and our daddy should be able to watch it without anyone being like, oh, close your ears or, look away. Like we never want to produce anything that was shady or a little more on the adult side. Cause like I said, my kids were watching all these videos every time I made it. And if they can't watch my videos, then I'm doing the wrong thing as a dad. So that was a big push for us, is that we want to make something that was entertaining, humorous, and good, something that the whole family can sit down and watch. It's kind of how that all went. So, and when I say making money from it, it was just enough money to eat Chinese buffet. Like we were like, man, we can make a career out of this. And then we realized, so what can $5 get us? It wasn't like all the millions like folks are doing today. So we spent a lot of money on eating or just giving away to other folks or trying to help out the community or anybody else with that money. Is really, it all ends up being. There's some stuff down the line we kind of hope to do with TV shows and stuff if work permits. But that's kind of how we are now. We both have our own companies. We're both entrepreneurs. We also have some corporate jobs as well. I fly for the airlines, and so I do that. And it's been getting tougher and tougher to make videos on a consistent basis like we were back in the day when I was just going pure entrepreneur mode, and he was stay-at-home dad. But he has a great story on that as well. So that's when we were really kicking it and just having fun as a true grown man refusing to grow up.
I appreciate the background. I want to say, man, it's always it's always nice to start off with a small idea, and then all of a sudden it grows into fruition to something that it is today. It's you start off with just the funny jokes here and there, side videos, and then now you're pretty much a business at this point. Before I put off to the team, how was it before you how long before you realized that YouTube was like a monetizing, how was it in that algorithm? Because I know back then and today it's kind of different. Because, talk about, on YouTube, how hard was it to like get all the levels before you could get to actually being monetized and making money, I guess, in that point.
It's we were pretty naive, man. We thought the only source of income would be just pure companies and doing commercials. And so we never had our eyes set on anything with Facebook and YouTube. I always assumed that it took millions and millions of followers, to generate income. It really, you can, I think, I can't remember the threshold. I think once you had like 1,000 followers, I think that's what it was back in 2016, 2017, somewhere around that line. Once you had 1,000, then you were able to apply to put your bank account on there. And once you put your bank account on Facebook and YouTube, then it's game on. And so then you make videos and you can say, I want ads. You can say, I want ads in the front, the middle, and the back. And the more you put ads on it, I think the more you can generate revenue. At the same time, you're risking, viewability. I don't know if that's a word, but people don't want to keep on watching a video if there's constant ads going throughout. So we're trying to figure out that game a lot as well. But that was we hit 1,000 first on Facebook. Facebook was our fastest one. Facebook, I remember we put a video. The video was I think it was the Misheard Lyrics. We sat in the car just talking about, one dude just playing jams, the other guy is jacking up all the lyrics, we go back and forth, and we just did, we originally shot that video in the car and it was just bouncing around, but we're just doing it live and it was cracking up and it was horrible feed. And so we had to sit down in the parking lot the next day and actually do it with the steady camera. We made that video, put it out there, and then me and Harris, I think, went to Temple, and then we came out and it had like 100,000 views. Like it was just like boom, and it was like wow. I was like, dang, we should be living more righteously. If we serve the Lord, we get more views. That's how it works, bro. And so I think, and it kept on doing its own thing. And so that's again where we started realizing, man, we should have put a ad on there. So then the next one we put an ad on there, and then we saw like 3 cents, 5 cents, 46 cents for the day, or $1.20 for the next day. And then we started putting more ads on Facebook and YouTube. And then as they went on, you just continue to make these little incremental gains. And so at the end of the month, maybe you end up with $30, and if you had Facebook and YouTube going, and you had maybe a couple hundred, if you had some good videos and good content out there. So I think the more we saw that going, the more we realized, like, man, we should take this more serious. And every time we said that, we never did. We just kept saying, we should. Yeah, man, you should. Next week. Yeah. We'll just keep having fun. And so I wish we would take it more serious, get a camera, lighting, all that good stuff, and studio equipment. And that would have been probably a lot more than our wives would allow us to do, because they're already fed up that we were taking so much time. Every video would take us at least 2 hours to shoot like a 2-minute video, because it's mostly our fault. We don't have a script. We just crack up the whole thing. What you get with your boys, you're just cracking up all the time and messing around. So that's what took all the time, but we loved it. And we always try to keep pushing. So I think that's when we realized it could be a business. And then I think in the future, if we kept on pushing, I think we realized that you have to be dedicated. We did more and more research. We realized that there has to be certain times where we started targeting our audience. And we found out it was mostly the 20 to 30 range, and sometimes caption 18, higher 35. I was mostly female at the time. I was about 51%, and then 49 was male. So we started trying to figure out, how do you make videos targeted to the people who are watching it the most? We started looking at our areas of highest view counts, and the highest was Hawaii. Second was, I think, either Australia or Utah. And then third was, Australia and New Zealand. Third was Utah. And then Cali was in there. And then we can kind of see, all right, this is our audience. And how do we kind of cater and make sure that we're giving people what they want, and still be us, and still be and true to our own humor, and just be real. And so we kind of toggled with that. We just kept on going with this. That's kind of our aha moment, is like, okay, we can make money with this. How we do it better. And I think we learned a little bit, but we should have done a lot more on the research and figuring out how to scale this on a bigger stage.
Welcome, Harris.
What's up, brother? Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
So I like the story of Yo Samo. It's a very good story, because you guys have started off with the intention to inspire and to basically bring light and the smile onto your audiences. And I wanted to speak on the negative aspect that Samson mentioned earlier, and that's the dark side of the media. As content creators, in that initial, when you guys first started your videos, how did you guys handle negative comments and negativity from that's put on your videos?
So I have my perspective. It's kind of funny. So we had two different emotions. And correct me if I'd love to hear yours, Harris. But mine, I loved all feedback, man. Whether it was positive or negative. And sometimes people were they hate on it. Like, man, I think when we first started, people always said dry. This is dry. This is boring. I didn't know what dry meant. I'm like, Harris, what does dry mean? Like, what? Is it opposite of wet? What's that? He's like, no, that means that this thing is boring, bro. It's not funny. I was like, oh, and I was like, and for me, for social media, I always marveled that people would say something negative, and then someone else would come on there and be like, hey, no, and they want to attack, and then another person attacks, and then you see this whole long dialogue of people just attacking, and then at the end of the day, nothing was solved. It was just a bunch of aggression, a bunch of emotions flying back and forth. So my standpoint was all like, man, I'm gonna let them say what they want to say, and just let it be there. So my thing, I love just liking it. So when they say, I hate your videos, they suck, no, it's not funny at all, and I just go like. And that's all I do. And that's it. I remember Harris sometimes, bro, you would call me up like, bro, you see that comment? Comment. I know, but we always talk back and forth, just texting back and forth, like, should we say anything? And I think the cool thing I remember was that loyal fans will come back and no, and they would defend, and they would say different things, and they'll say, no, they had a good perspective, they liked, and that was, I think, that was the heartwarming part of it, is when as the creators, you didn't have to really try to defend anything. We were just us, just doing us, being honest, being genuine. And if people didn't like it, we understand that we can't please everybody. But it was cool to see sometimes when the fans would fire back and kind of defend us. Like, dude, that's so cool, man. That was touching.
Yeah, I know it's always hard because your content that you're putting out there is your baby, right? You're like, you put a lot of your effort in it, your time. And when you don't get the feedback that you want, it's easy to get offended. But one thing that I always told myself was like, look, we got so many more people that like or are sharing or are watching our content than the handful of people that are hating on it, right? And so we just did exactly what Samson did. Like, sometimes even love.
Yeah, love.
We're gonna love this comment, and that would piss them off even more. Am I able to swear on this thing? You guys allow?
Just minimum.
Okay, yes. But yeah, we would pretty much just we didn't even give any energy to the haters. We realized and we appreciated everybody that was responsive to us that liked our stuff. So we pretty much just gave them no mind.
All right, gents. I want to take it back a little bit. I want to talk about two of my favorite skits that you guys did. The first one is the Green Arrow one. The You Failed This City.
Sure.
It's so simple. And if you're a fan of the show of Arrow, Green Arrow, whatever you want to call it, you understand it. Like, all right, this is getting old. Then finally somebody attacks that, that line. And I just thought it was pure genius at the time. And I just kept watching. I still laugh at it. I just watched it, earlier today and last night, just getting ready. That was just, man, the way you guys played on that it was so good. And then the haka one, talking about haka etiquette and whatnot. And that was much needed, especially during that time you were seeing all the viral hakas by schools with absolutely no polys, or even with the poly showing them the wrong thing. I was like, thank you. This was needed. And I was, sharing the crap out of that. But with that being said,
who's the biggest offenders of that haka thing is our Samoans, man.
Yeah. Especially with the chihu in the middle of everything. It kills me. But with that being said, do you two have any favorite skits throughout the time you guys have been able to make content that you put out there that just really stick with you guys?
All right. I'm excited about this. Okay, so there are videos that me and Harris put out that we love, that we thought it was genius, and then we put it out there, and it's like crickets. Like, two people liked it. We're like, oh man, like, and we tell it. And I probably get too emotional, huh, Harris? I'm like, bro, this one is gonna go viral. This one is gonna go on the news. This one's gonna go on Ellen. And we were like, and then you get like 4 likes. Like, dang it, man. Green Arrow was one of those. So you picked. I think it's brilliant, man. You picked 2 videos. One is my idea, and one is Harris's idea, and I think it gives a good depiction of how our 2 minds work. The Green Arrow. Every time I would watch that show, my man always says, "You failed this." It was like outplayed all the time, and then every time I watch him, like, yo, how did he go from like normal looking, and now he has the mask on, and there's the eyeliner there. You can see all the eye makeup. No one ever talks about how this dude is like, oh, someone's in the street about to get shot. I got 2 seconds to get there, and he's taking all this time to get all this makeup on his face. Is 1 hour later, still got to get all the makeup. And like, no one ever talks about that, man. Like, this is so for me, my mind is just, I'm constantly laughing at ridiculous stuff that I don't know if anyone else thinks is funny, but for me, that's my brain works, man. I think it's hilarious. The line, that the makeup they puts on, all the stuff that you just assume that the audience, just automatically accepts. But that's the reality in the real world. That's not how that works, man. You don't have time to get all dressed up trying to save someone about to get shot 2 seconds down the street. You got to get there fast. So that whole video, for me, is one of my favorite, just because it's so ridiculous. It points out the ridiculousness of TV shows and movies that we just take for granted. But the Haka video is a brilliant video by Harris. Harris is like a genius, man. Harris is the one that comes with scripts. Like, all right, line 1, line 2, you say this. And like, dang, I feel like I'm in a movie right now, Harris. Harris is legit, man. So that whole Haka thing, he has his brilliance is like seeing stuff that's, socially accepted or not accepted, or stuff that's going on in the world, and how do we make that into our own culture, but also our humor. And so that's a great way of, highlighting that video. That's all Harris, man. That whole video was him. And I was so happy and lucky to be a part of that video of Harris's brilliant ideas.
Thanks, man. I don't know if you guys saw that video on YouTube. It was two hotel staff in Samoa. They were wanting to pay tribute to the Maori on Waitangi Day, but there were two different hotels and they had their own staff, and they agreed to meet somewhere and do a haka off, and it was. You won't find it on YouTube because that video has been taken down because all the Maori were offended. But I will tell you, that was the ugliest haka I've ever seen in my life. And it was, how the Maori, when they do the pofiri or where they give the little front. So these Samoans, they brought a whole coconut palm. They brought the whole thing. They didn't cut off the little top. They brought the whole thing. Like it was a guy carrying the whole thing and then laid it down in front of the other hotel staff. And I was like, what the hell? And so that's really where the idea came from, it's it's Samoans, and then you have in Utah, it's Tongans, right? And it just kind of, we're all Polynesians, but we also butcher each other's cultures, right? Especially not growing up in those, but that's really where that idea came from, and we wanted to do it in a funny way that Maori would appreciate it, but also not offend our own people too much. But either way, we offended people, even though we tried not to.
No, that's funny. It's always hard to judge with comedy, because what offends people can be so subjective to everybody, so it's kind of hard to walk that line. I was gonna say, I even relate to what you were saying earlier, where sometimes you have an idea and you're like, this is the one that's gonna that's gonna make it one. And I'm so on a lesser degree, I have some similar experiences when I'm I try to do artwork. I try to do artwork professionally. I have I put a lot of what I do on my Instagram profile. That's kind of my main one. And I'll put, it's just funny because I'll put hours and hours. I'll work on a piece for a week or something like that. And I'm like, this is the one, this is going to get some eyes on me. And I drop it and it's my lowest like count ever. But then I'll post some pre-production doodles, literally a doodle that I drew on a napkin or something. And that one blows up. And I'm like, really? Is the one that I put all my heart and soul in? Y'all are sleeping on that, but this little throwaway doodle that's literally in the trash right now, you like that one? It's all right. It's I don't know, it's hard. It's hard to judge that. I was even going to say too, it's not to take us too far back, but at the beginning when you were saying man, are we really funny, or do our moms just say we're funny? I'm like, man, that's because that's a real thing you got to wonder sometimes, because it's man, our parents are our biggest fans when probably they shouldn't be sometimes, because my mom's, she'll still do this. She'll go around and tell people, hey, Spencer can sing good. You got to listen. He's got a good voice. I'm like, Mom, I'm the most monotone person you'll ever meet. I'm I appreciate that you're my biggest fan, biggest hell or high water, but I'm not going to post this up and you'll be my only person who liked my video.
I don't.
That's a good thing.
When people sing at church and they're horrible, I'll always lean over to my wife and be like, their parents lied to them. Very mean, but yeah, to your point, our parents are our biggest fans, regardless of whether or not we're good, man.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
So I know Samson touched a little bit about the team, right? But I want to highlight the team because I believe you guys would agree to what I'm about to say. Without your team, all these videos, it wouldn't happen, right? Even if it's just you, Samson and Harris. Who do you guys want to highlight, and how do you get these people to join you guys on your videos? Because it's not, sometimes it's not only you guys.
We love having people in the video. Let's just put that out there. I don't I don't like making videos by myself. I've tried many times. You see videos out there on Yo Samo page. Harris done some on his own too. It's boring. Like, we love the folks that can do it. Like my man Jimmy Ati, that guy in Hawaii, and those guys, and all those boys out there who can do videos on their own. Man, I have so much respect for that. For me, I always want someone there because I want to laugh. I want someone else to, do something funny. I know they laugh and I laugh. So me and Harris, it's just so much fun just to do that with each other. And the more the merrier. So the more people we can get in, I think for us, it's the more fun we have. The better the memories, the better the time. Like, hey, remember that one time when all those guys, we always recall such great memories doing these videos. So I think the hardest part is not trying to, is whether or not we want people in the video, it's trying to coordinate times. So every single person that we try to bring in, they can only work Tuesday, Thursday at night, and I can only work Monday, Wednesday in the morning, and Harris got Friday, Saturday. And the more people you bring in, it just gets more and more convoluted and more difficult to try to get everyone's schedule on point. And so I think that's the hardest barrier. If we can get all the kids in there too, because there's so many cool kids out there. Like, man, they grew up with these videos, and we will meet them at churches and different wars, and we love, like, they were like, man, can I get in a video? We'll be like, oh man, we'd love to get you in a video. And the hardest part is always just how do you coordinate that? How do you get all these primary kids and all the parents to show up at maybe at a park or something? And those are the bigger, grander ideas. I think if we can try to get everybody in and we try to do stuff. We did one with our whole ward to try to get everyone in there at a war camp. Like those worked out great. But I think the more the merrier is what it's always been for me and Harris. We love it. Every single person has a story. Every single person has such a great humor, view on things. When you add that into the mix, it just gets better and better. I think that for us, we see in the videos.
We've had at least 3 videographers at any point. First was videographers and editors. I was the primary one, but then I kind of got too busy for editing. So we had Kulani Watson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but Kulani, he went off to Hawaii, and he has a bigger Instagram following than us, which is pretty
Killing
cool.
it.
And I love seeing their growth. And then we had Lihai Falipapalangi, who's now doing Disney. All these people, they just get bigger than us, and then they leave us. And now we have Conan Peterson, and all of these guys, Kulani, Hawaiian descent, who's the second one I mentioned, Lihai Papalangi, Tongan, and then Conan Samoan, right? But now, I don't know if you guys follow the Diesel brothers, but Conan is one of their primary videographers. And so it's cool to see, like, we were their first stepping stone to get to where they're at now. And now we have to pay them, because they would come up to us and say, hey, we would do this for free. But now if we want them to come with us to do a video, we have to pay them. And so their time has gotten super valuable. And, within our own, because we have our own careers, it's been a struggle to kind of put videos together, but we realize the value of time. And so we're more than happy to pay them. Conan was the one that shot our pickleball video. I don't know if you guys saw that one, the pickleball kid. And he did a masterful job on that one. Now it almost felt like movie quality. And so, yeah, we are always, we're grateful to see those guys go on and grow and just do bigger and better things.
And Nephi,
so shout out to them.
Shout out to Nephi too. Yeah.
Shout out to Nephi. Yeah. Nephi, he went to New Zealand and he's just killing it out there. So
yeah,
if there's another videographer that wants to use us as a stepping stone,
step away,
forward, man. Step on us and then go somewhere else.
So yeah, when I sent out the invite to you guys, and obviously I had to do my research. Unless people know you guys, there's not a lot of info on YouTube. Like for Samson, like 12 days ago, a video from George Sutherland Archives. 12 days ago, came up, and that's from 2013.
Oh,
that's probably the only video that on YouTube that I can find you on. And on Harris, the Village Made podcast, 2-3 years ago, and then you had your Exit Realty, kind of like a podcasting. So
yeah.
My question is, what advice, or let's say mantra, the mindset, right? What are your mindsets on, for future, or those who are trying to start off as content creators? What advice would you give them on the mindset, or what quote you guys can give to live by?
I think, and I always preach this, regardless of whether it's content creating or real estate, it's always authenticity. You gotta first know what you want, and then know who you are. Because knowing who you are will get you what you want. And so you put who you authentically are, and people will just buy into you just because they believe you and what you're about. So as long as you're not faking the funk, as long as you can be who you are, people will appreciate that because you've already built that rapport, you've already built that trust, and they just value what you say because it comes from the heart. You're not faking anything. And so the thing I love about what we do is Yo Samo was really our upbringing. It really is our life. It's our story. We just tell it in a way that a lot of people can relate to it. And so authenticity is 100% vital because people can smell fish, or they can smell if you're being phony. And so that's probably it. Just be 100% authentically you, and you'll be all right.
I think for me, it's along the lines, I think Harris hit it spot on, is don't be scared. When we first started doing this, and even now, I rarely post anything on my social media, like my own personal Facebook page. If we're friends or family, like I don't post anything on my own personal stuff. I just never been that guy. I don't know. I just never been a habit of mine. So when we started thinking about doing something on social media, I was like, oh man, this is scary. Like I don't even want to know about me, and I'm kind of just do my own thing, and I'll take care of my family, and that's how I like to do. So I was kind of worried about that, and then on top of that, I was worried about we have careers that we're building. We're trying to run as leadership figures in different companies, our own companies, and it was really scary to think that, hey, if any of my customers or any of the people I work with, any of the management or my leaders above me see this video and they see how goofy I am, do I get fired? Like am I going to be, destroyed all my career attempts, everything I worked so hard for up to now? Is it all be jeopardized because of the stuff we're doing, which is totally out of character, what they know of me? And then, but I think Harris, just be you. And so I think, like you said, like on Google, I don't think there's much on me besides this stuff, and everything I've done is just always on Yo Samo stuff. But I think I had to just let go and be like, hey, if they see it, they see it. If my boss's boss sees it and they don't like me, well, I'm sorry, sir. I'll always be professional when I go to work, but when I'm home, this is me, And then, the cool thing is, I think, well, my boss's bosses, they've seen it and they've come up and like, hey, I like that video. Like, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for liking the video. It's been always a positive thing. I think people respected the realness, the authenticity that this is a real dude out there, just being him. That in the workplace you can be serious, especially in the military. Man, there's no room for like goofiness. But I still was a goofball in the Army, and I still am today. So I think just not being scared, just going for it, man. I think there'll be a lot of reasons where like, man, what if this person sees, what if this happens, what if this, and if you really want it, just do it. Just do it and push forward and be you.
Oh, that's awesome. The one thing I wanted to ask you guys was, when you were starting up, when you were finding your drive to be creative, was that something just embedded with you and the videos were just an outlet for what you already had going? Or were there specific, let's say, YouTubers, people making these videos already that inspired you? You're like, hey, I want to be like that, or I'll make something funny like that. Is there any like specific YouTubers or content creators that made you feel like, hey, I want to be like that, or that you drew inspiration from?
For me, it was Niga Higa. I don't know if you guys recall. So Niga Higa was from Hawaii, but at one point he was the top YouTuber, right? Making, when I heard how much money he was making, I was like, damn. And then the Shaytards, I don't know if you remember them. They're another LDS family. And I'm like, wow, all they're doing is just recording. So as those guys, and then coming out of Hawaii, you had, it was Russell Satele and Bronson, Lethal Giggles. They went by the name of Lethal Giggles. And so it was really just that, like seeing a guy from Hawaii being the top YouTuber, an LDS guy being another LDS family being a top YouTuber, and then seeing these three guys coming out of Hawaii. They were kind of just like the Bradas. I don't know if you guys are from, if you guys grew up in Hawaii, but the Bradas was sketch comedy. They had their own channel. They hadn't used social media at that point because it wasn't big when I was growing up. But Lethal Giggles, they started creating skits on Facebook. They did one on how to avoid when Mormons knock on your door. Like that one was probably one of the first ones I saw. So that was, it was really just those guys. But kind of just they were all homages to all the Hawaiian comedians that grew up. Kelo and Sumeo, the Samoan duo, all those guys. And so they just used social media, and we figured, hey, we already do this for free on our church page, people like that. So let's see what other people say.
I think we were a part of a ward, and a lot of times there's not much funding, so you got to become the entertainment. You got to get up there and start doing something. So I think we're like, hey, let's put a camera, like Harris, put a camera on it. I think laughing Samoans was like a big one for me. Like, dude, I love the way I feel when I watch that video. I love how everyone, family reunions, we sit around the table, everyone's talking and joking. You see that we're all mimicking the video, and the lines and everything. Like, man, I think that is the best job in the world, is doing funny stuff that makes people laugh and everyone just cracking up about it. So I think that was, and then I learned all this stuff from Harris. Harris was showing me Lethal Giggles and all these other amazing folks that are putting stuff out there. And I'm like, man, this is real. People are really doing this stuff, and so let's just go for it. So I think just seeing that there's been success on YouTube before, and people have been successful, so why not give it a shot? But I think Laughing Samoans was probably my one that, like, man, if I can do something like that, that would be incredible. Or even, those guys are legendary. We can never be that, but maybe if we can kind of be a little bit of humor out there like that, I would love to do something like that.
Did you guys grow up on Pekelo and Sumeo? Anybody else?
Heck yeah, brother.
Yes.
That's a pastime, man.
Yeah, I remember watching their old tapes that my parents brought back from Samoa, man. Even though I didn't understand it, just their facials and their intonation. There were some parts I got, but overall, they were just slapstick. And as a little kid, I just remember them. They came to Laie one time, and I was just sucking it all in when I was a little kid, just listening to them and laughing with them. The OGs, for sure.
I could try to mimic the Sumeo's voice.
That's spot on.
Hey, so just what do you call it? So I know Samson, you mentioned Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's the real Atsi. He's actually my first cousin, and
Really?
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's my first cousin. So it's funny because I'm going to talk on the family perspective of things, because I see him and our cousins, we watch him,
Yes.
starting from the beginning, and then more to the point where he is at now. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate, because no, it's just from the family, internal
For the
family.
family, yeah.
It's just it's a good type, like love and hate type thing. It's not really like hey, like I hate, it's just like, oh man, now we got to see this guy over here, right? Doing his videos and stuff, and now we
He's
got
probably clowning on your NFL teams. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess that's kind of my question is, how are your families, when you guys were doing all these videos, were they very supportive, or, were they trying to, pulling you down? You know how it is, so, talk a little bit on that. Cause I know, Jimmy, man, he started off with that one video where, he was doing the walking from church video, and then that's how he kind of skyrocketed from that point. But we were just clowning on him, even our immediate, first level cousins, we're just making fun of him, and now we're kind of like biting our tongues in a way, in that sense. But yeah,
I know what you mean. Because I'm a Raiders fan. And every time he dogs on my Raiders, man, I'm like, damn, Ati, I gotta go that far. But on my side, I don't know. I don't feel like I've gotten hate, but that might just be me. I just kind of just tune it out. Like, I'll I'll take the observation, but I feel like my family has been super supportive, especially their kids, my cousins' kids. You know, my cousins' kids will come up to me and they will recite things to me that I you know, from videos years ago, and that makes me happy. But I feel like my family has been pretty supportive. Samson?
First off, man, Jimmy, I love that guy, man. Your cousin. I know we didn't grow up together, but every time we chat, dude, I feel like he's like a real brother, man. Like, we have the same past. He grew up in Germany in the military. I grew up in Germany in the military. Places where we lived, you know, we kind of talked back and forth. Like, man, this guy is like for real, another brother from another mother, man. So and then I think Harris showed me his videos when he first started out. Like, look at this guy. This guy's viral. I'm like, man, that guy is huge. Look at all his followers, man. And he's muscular. What the heck? So I got a lot of love for Jimmy, man. I think he's a genuine dude, and I always appreciate getting a chance to chat with them and get his insights. And anytime we go to Hawaii, I always like one of my goals is go do a video with him just to hang out with a guy like that, man. And Kulani and all those guys over there, and Russell. Mine's kind of the same story. I think me and my first cousins, we're all really close. We grew up really close. We're all a Hanneman family. And for me, family's been like everything. So me and my cousins, like we always felt like we had each other's back, and they were everything to me. So I think as we were doing these things, they were like my number one fans. They're like, hey man, I watched your video today. Like, thank you, bro. I got 3 views now because of you. You know, you 2 other people out there. And so my cousins were always telling like, hey, my neighbor, he saw you. They, you know, they're not even poly, and they saw your video. And that was always like a cool thing. Like, hey, it got out of the poly circle, you know, out of our sphere of influence, and starting to get to other races and to other cultures, which I thought was a really cool thing. So I always feel love from my cousins, and especially my aunties. My aunties are like, we got my mom's part of 14 brothers and sisters, and they're like diehard video watchers for our channel, man. Every time they get together, like watching all their favorite videos, and so I always felt a lot of support from family. So luckily, I think it's been blessed to have that love and support. But if anyone else was hating on it, I think they were just kind enough not to let me know, you know. So I appreciate that too. And if any of the family members were not liking it, I apologize if I was stealing their thunder.
They're probably just talking smack behind their back. That's all. We just don't know.
But it's all good. It's all love.
Do you guys speak on the aspect of service? How do you guys feel about service? Because I know what you guys are doing right now is a huge service to our community by, you know, making people laugh and making people feel good. But what other services do you guys provide? Are you guys doing, like, for an example, charity or scholarship, or are you guys at that point?
So with one of the things that we do is we will highlight several businesses. Right now, it's been a while since we've done a video, just because of our respective careers have kept us really busy. But we really enjoy highlighting other Polynesian businesses, like whether it's a restaurant or whether it's gear. We'll throw it on, you know, because some people have reached out to us like, hey, how much would it cost for you to wear this shirt? Like, just send us a shirt. We'll wear it for free. Like, you know,
a free shirt.
Yeah, free. Yeah. So
I'll wear it right now.
But so yeah, we received offers for sponsorships, but honestly, we just love promoting Polynesian-owned businesses. We haven't done scholarships with Yo Samo yet, but on my HM Realty group, we've been able to sponsor several kids with their football programs, and we were able to sponsor with Samson the Polynesian Pickleball Club, which is a legitimate thing. I was surprised, but that's where that video came from. The pickleball kid that was because we donated it. They also gave us some a slot to promote not only my HM Realty group, which is my business, but also just to promote Lost Boys Marketing, which is Conan, who filmed the video for us, and just promote all of those pickleball players, up and coming Adri, Latikara, Modi, Samoan, and Adam Chase. So another Samoan Modi, and their conquest in the pickleball court. And so really it's just a great opportunity for us to just show off other people's talents
I think to the youth is always going to have a soft spot for me and Harris. We met as young men leaders, man, taking care of youth, and I feel like that's the future. The youth is that's what's going to take care of, you know, all of us and all of our children. The youth is where I think we like to focus our attention. So there's been a lot of opportunities to go to speaking events, firesides, wards, or just go to mutual events, colleges, and talk to business classes, high school businesses. And any chance someone comes and say, "Hey, can you come talk?" Well, yes. I don't care what it is. If it's something to do with the youth, something to help somebody have a different perspective, think outside the box or realizing their capability or their potential, what they can do in life. Me and Harris are there, 100%. Man, I'll drop everything to be there to support. So I think that has been one of the beautiful things of being all this that we weren't really aware of. As recognition got a little bigger and bigger, as we made more videos, more opportunities to try to help and try to provide any kind of support we can for anyone looking for any kind of advice for growing up. You know, what should I do when I grow up? What do I do after high school? How do I get through high school? How do I get through these emotions? How do I get through bullying? How do I be successful in football? Like, there's so many questions that I think youth have that me and Harris can be there for, just to lend a ear or to talk about our own experiences, what we struggle with and how we push through it. Man, we'll always be there. So I think that's one of the things I think is near and dear to our heart is just trying to talk to youth. And I love the idea of scholarships. I never really thought about that. That'd be a fantastic thing.
I think the only thing we have reservations about is emceeing. Emceeing is a whole different level, man. We get asked to MC a lot, and we did it one time for the Pacifica Festival in Provo.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, people were telling us that we were funny. We just couldn't hear laughter from the stage, you know? So that was one where you get like live instant feedback and you're like, okay, we're not as big as we thought we were.
And people ask like, hey, why don't you go to the comedian stand-ups? And that's another big fear, man. That's how it felt like when we MC. Like, we throw a joke out there and then we're just like this. Like, moving on, like, dang, can I run off the stage now, or do I have to wait until the right time? You know, emceeing stuff, man. But yeah, that's one of the harder ones for real.
Yeah, I think you gotta pay us for us to do.
I didn't even want to do it for pay. They tried. Remember, Harris? They're like, yo, we pay. Like, nah, I'm good. Where the youth at? Let's go talk to them, man. I just want to, let's help another way.
I was just about to ask about that too, if you guys were ever going to try your hand or if you had before in stand-up. But now I know.
Yeah, well, man, stand-up is the highest form of comedy, in my opinion. Like, some of my favorite comedians, Joe Coy. Like, I don't know if you watched his. That guy cracks me up. He's super crude, but that's my personal. I'm crude in my jokes, even though you don't see it on Yo Samo. Yo Samo filters me. He censors me a lot. But that is the highest form of comedy. Like, I don't know if you or Tumuo, who's the new comedian, stand-up comedian out of Hawaii. His stand-up is a lot funnier than his videos, in my opinion. But that just goes to show, like, stand-up is just a whole nother level of comedy, and it requires timing, cadence, and getting the punchline just right. And I don't doubt that. That's something I need to go to a training camp for. But Samson, he's got it. Samson can do it.
That's actually a bucket list of mine. I do want to go show up, but I want to go prepared. I want to just, hey, see what happens. You know, we talk about face your fear. It's a bucket list. I'll go up there and I'll be like, all right, if I get booed, I get booed. But you'll never know unless you give it a shot. So I think I will do one day. I like that. I like spontaneity. I like just doing stuff on the cuff, man. I like just going for it. But I think the comedian stand-up, you got to be a little more prepared. So that's more Harris's lane. Harris is very prepared, man, methodical. I kind of just go for it and gun it. And I got to figure out, I got the blend between the two. But that would be a cool dream of mine, is to go do that someday.
That'd be great.
And just, if you guys don't mind me asking this, we can edit it out. But leading the youth was that ever part of your patriarchal blessings for either of you? Because this is part of mine.
Really?
And I hate talking to people. I really do. Like, I mean, unless we're talking meathead stuff.
Yeah.
Or like you guys mentioned Adri. I know Adri. We're hoopers, you know, with him before he went pickleball route. But I mean, I find myself, I'm here coaching the 1A high school boys varsity team. So if you have any relatives that are in trouble at school, you know, send them my way.
Awesome.
But yeah, I just wanted to ask that about you guys. If like leading the youth is part of your patriarchal blessing, if you guys don't mind me asking.
Yeah, for me, no. I think I got real when I had kids, and I realized like my life is dedicated to trying to give them the best life possible. And then when I realized that about my own kids, I realized like that feeling, it spreads out to all kids, man. I feel like every kid should have a chance to be the most successful person possible. And if they don't believe it, they should. Someone should be there to tell them that. I feel like that's a big, big passion. Whether it's a mission of mine, I don't know, but I feel very, very focused on that the people deserve that, the kids deserve that. But unfortunately, no, it's not my patriarchal blessing. So maybe I'm going the wrong way. Maybe I should be doing something else. But it has my heart right now. So that's something that always will move me.
It's not in my patriarchal blessing, the youth. I Samson and I both served in the youth. But I found that my personal patience level with the youth isn't very. If you drop the F-bomb while you're teaching Sunday school, it's not very good youth leader there. So I found myself doing that one time, and I got released from that calling. But my patriarchal blessing was very specific that I would be bringing many to the gospel. And, I've seen a glimpse of that on my mission. I served in Chicago, where the baptism rates were very low, but, by some miracle, I was able to bring quite a few people in, and they've had kids serve missions. A lot of the converts that I brought in Chicago, they've had kids who served missions all over the world. And so that was a partial fulfillment of that. But other than that, there was no specific thing in regards to youth. Except that I would be, rearing my kids correctly as best as I can.
So I might go a little bit off topic on this one.
Ooh, I like off topic.
Yeah, because Yo Samo is all about comedy. I'm gonna ask this question: what is your most embarrassing moment? And this question will go out to the general, but especially you, Samson and Harris. What is your most embarrassing moment? And I'll start it off so you guys can get that.
Get the juices flowing.
Yeah, juices flowing. So one time at work, this was many years ago in Colorado. I don't know how you guys use the bathroom, but when I go number two, I break the pieces of toilet paper 3 times, like about a few feet, maybe 2 feet. Put on the side, both sides, and then the back, so that my tushy doesn't touch the toilet seat. Because I don't like wiping it, because you know how many people use the bathroom in public toilets? That's how I use the toilet.
Yeah.
So one time at work, I cleaned up, I got up, washed my hands, did everything, and I walked out. And then few minutes while I was working fixing the aircraft, a coworker said, "Hey, what's that?" And he was pointing to the back. I looked back, and there was a toilet paper hanging from the back of my pants. And then I realized that while I was cleaning up, I stood up. One of the sheets of toilet paper was somehow got caught while I was pulling up my pants. It got caught on my underwear and my pants. So I was pretty embarrassed at that moment, because never in my life did I think, like, how in the movies you walk out of the toilet, you have toilet paper stuck under your shoe.
Yeah.
But for me, it was hanging from my pants. So I was pretty ashamed at that moment in my life.
Hey, that reason, because of movies and that stuff, I check my moolie every single time I go by the mirror before I leave, just in case. Is there anything hanging back there? Because that's a real deal, like a nightmare right there, bro. Like you walking through the airport or work and everyone's staring at you.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I
mean, I got so many embarrassing stories.
Harris has the best stories, man.
But just since we're on here for Yo Samo, one of the I went to Mo Betta's one time, and this is when Yo Samo we were actively pushing out video. Mo Betta's actually reached out to us because they wanted to host a Yo Samo event where we would go to Mo Betta's and, you know, we would post it on our Facebook page and people could meet us there to, you know, for us to do a meet and greet at Mo Betta's. But anyway, after they asked us to do that, maybe a month afterwards, I went to Mo Betta's just to grab me some food. And, you know, we went through the line. I ordered my food. The guy behind the counter, he says, "Oh man, can I get your autograph?" I'm like, "Oh man, stop, man. Stop. I'm not that big, dude." He's like, "No, really, I need you to sign your credit card stuff. Because I need it for the receipt." And so here, you know, there I am thinking I'm some big stuff just because the guy didn't even know me, man. I was like, "Ah, stop." He was like, "No, for real. I need your signature on the
Sign the receipt, dude.
Hey, just sign this receipt. It's not that hard." It's like, no, James. You know, the road will eat you up and spit you out, man.
Man, I hope you tipped him extra for that.
Man. Yeah, that was very humbling. Very humbling.
I remember that story, bro. So there's a lot of, man, especially with my family, there's a lot. We love teasing each other. My uncles and aunties have teased me all my life, and I've done it's a lot of embarrassing stuff. But whenever I think about the most embarrassing thing, my mind always goes to, I think it was fifth grade. So fifth grade, we're all at recess, and then it's time to go into the classroom, and I had a kaipu. I had a fart really bad. But I don't want to be around the people, the kids, you know, because then the girl I like will know, and I know I'll be embarrassed. So while everyone's at recess, I ran into the classroom, and you know, everyone was gone, and I just let it all out. You know, I just like boom, just released myself. You know, like, okay, I'm good. And then I realized, like, man, if I'm in the room and everyone comes to the room and they smell it, it's obviously going to be me. So I gotta get out of this room. So I ran out the room and I went in the bathroom and I hung out there what seemed like forever. Like, okay, now this is about a good time where everyone's in the room and then no one will know it was me. So then I went out of the bathroom and I went in the room and I expected to see everybody and there was no one there. And then when I turned around again to leave, everyone started coming in the room. So then I was like, oh man. And so then everyone started walking in like, oh, what's that smell? Oh, and then everyone, one after another, were like, "Oh, Samson, was that you?" Like, no, man, that's not me. And like everyone, like, Samson farted, and everyone, the whole entire class was freaking out, like holding their nose. I can't breathe. Oh, I can't, and just freaking out. And so I sit there on my table, my desk, and I just put my head down like this, like, man, this is the worst day ever. And then finally, the teacher comes in, and she's like, "Hey, everyone, settle down. Everyone, sit down. And everyone's like, I can't breathe. Samson farted." And everyone is making the biggest deal. I was like, man, sucks to be me right now, you know? So, and then the teacher goes up there. She goes up to the chalk, to the blackboard, and she starts writing. And she's like, "Calm down, everyone." Starts writing the math. I remember it was a math day. She's writing a math equation. And as she's writing, it's slowing down. She's slowing down her writing, and then she just stops. And I just look at her like, oh no. She puts down the chalk, turns around, goes all the way to the back of the classroom, opens up the file cabinet, gets the aerosol can, and then goes up and down each aisle going shh, every aisle. And I'm just it ain't that bad. It don't stink that bad. Saying, and then for us, she said, "Okay, everyone calm down." After she sprayed it, class continued. But I remember that day, like, this has got to be the worst day of my whole entire life. That was in fifth grade. And there's been a lot of stuff that's happened since then that's equally or more embarrassing. But that day, I remember I couldn't believe my luck. And I couldn't believe the teacher didn't back me up. She told everyone to calm down, but she herself couldn't stand the smell and sprayed down the aisle with that aerosol can to get that smell out of that room. All from one big part. So that's my embarrassing story.
You know, our podcast, we're a veteran group, you know, like-minded individuals. So I want to take you, when both of you guys take on this, how has the military prepared you guys for life all the way up to this point right now? Has it, you know, contributed to, you know, not being shy, contributed to being an outgoing person, introvert, you know, extrovert? You know, there's a lot of things that the military, you know, molds characters, you know, to be better or to be worse. If you guys could touch up on it, you know, for our listeners. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, let me go first because I'm the odd man out. I'm not a veteran. I was part of God's army in Chirac, and you know that's. I had a while back. You know, when we go on these speaking assignments or whenever people ask us to speak, you know, I always tell people what I do, and then Samson will come up after me, and he'll see like, oh, I'm a veteran, and everybody gives him like extra attention, like, oh, thank you for your service. And, you know, I'm just over there just like, oh, cool. And then and then they'll ask, oh, yeah. So did you guys serve missions? I'm like, yeah, I served in Chirac, you know, just to make it feel more dangerous than it. Well, yeah, I served in Chirac, you know, the capital murder of the United States. And then Samson will come up afterwards. Oh, yeah, you know, I served in Iraq, where capital nation of the world, capital murder, capital of the world. And so, you know, Samson is really great at one-upping me. So, but no, always mad respect to all the veterans and all of you who served time. And so, yeah, I'll just give that up to Samson just to answer that one.
No, man, Harris, it's so funny, man. Harris has a lot of amazing things, man. It's all the way around. I'm always trying to like figure out what do I say to like match all Harris has done, man. I got nothing. So, but I appreciate you guys' service. Like just like Harris said, first and foremost, man. I know it's a sacrifice for you and sacrifice for the family. I grew up an Army brat. My dad was in the Army. He finished as a command sergeant major in the Army, so he went as far as he can go. And I spent 30 years in the Army. So I was raised in Germany, California, Washington, Texas, and then Korea. And so we kind of moved around a lot. German was my first language. Growing up in Germany until I was 7, moved to Texas, Fort Hood. I had to figure out English real quick because I was failing all my classes because I couldn't read and write English very well or speak very well. So Dad stopped all the Samoan and German in the house, and then we were just pure English. And to this day, I can't remember much of my German or Samoan anymore. And just English and the Spanish from speaking in Panama. Dad being enlisted in the Army, man, it was amazing. It was amazing being raised by my hero, my father. He taught us the importance of a team, taking care of others. And so Daddy's big mantra and what he always taught us was the number one thing to be a leader, that you have to be a leader in this world. If you're not a leader, you're going to be run over. And people are going to make you do stuff that you don't want to do. And then because they're the leader. So if you want to make a change, if you wanted the world to be a positive spot, you got to be the leader. And you show the world what good looks like, what's cool. And so that is mantra. And 3 words he always taught us that we had to know as kids was intelligence, endurance, and competitiveness. And those are 3 words that we had to learn right from the get-go. When we were 1 year old, we can write and talk. And he always said, son, what are 3 words? You know, competitive, intelligent, endurance. And so we had to learn how to spell those. And that was always what he focused on. And leadership was my dad's biggest thing. But then at the same time, he told us that the key to leadership was humility and to love your soldiers. And if you love your soldiers, they will go with you anywhere. And I never understood what that meant as a kid, but I would always kind of watch my dad being a military man. And then all these soldiers around him being like really like, whoa, you know, he was like all the way Army leader. But then at home, he was a dad. And I always appreciated him. Like I would never know that he was hardcore Army and leading soldiers into war. He was in Saudi Arabia, in Saudi, and it went back again. So I never saw that side. I only saw the loving dad. And I realized that you got to separate the two of the person you are at home has got to be the nurturing father that takes care of the kids and places your wife first. And it's 100% service. And then when you're in with the soldiers, you lead by example, but at the same time, they come first. That you don't eat until they eat. That you don't go to sleep until everyone gets shelter. And everything was always like that for my father. So he had me, there's three of us boys. I'm the oldest. I got two younger brothers. All three of us went to West Point. So he sent all of us to go be in the Army, to all go be officers, because he said officers in the Army suck. He's like, those guys are all jacked up. Enlisted, the only reason why the Army is successful. So you go in there, you go become officers, and you fix that officer corps. So all three of us didn't want to go to the Army. We're like, oh, Dad, I wanted to go to BYU Hawaii like he did. I wanted to go surf. I wanted to go live the life that Harris lived in like he did. I wanted all that stuff, but no, that it was not an option. But we all went to military academy, so we all joined did the military. I chose aviation, so I ended up flying helicopters and airplanes, and got out and did some other stuff and continue to fly today. But I think the number one thing I think the military has taught me is love your soldiers. I think the true leader for me, it was never about the person with the rank or the brass saying, hey, I'm the leader, listen to me. Like, I didn't care nothing about those people. I only care about the person that was in the foxhole, that was in the mud, in the rain, in the freezing cold with all the soldiers, leading by example. And that everybody went first, that you always ate last, that he always made sure that their home, their home life was good, that they were taken care of, and if there was someone in jail, pulling them out, all that stuff, I think was a good example for my father, and that we all try to emulate as his sons about how to be a leader. I think some stuff I learned in my own leadership is when in charge, be in charge. Sorry, man. I feel like I'm getting back in the military mode. That meant a lot to me. I feel like if you're in charge, be in charge, man. If you're scared, get a dog, you know, and all this stuff was real. Like, people need someone to take charge. And I would see it all the time with people are trying to figure out, what do we do? Where do we go? How do we figure out this problem? How do we successfully complete this mission in Iraq? And it doesn't work if no one's going to step up and be in charge. And if that person is going to step up, take the lead, do something. And if it doesn't work, be humble enough to realize, hey, that didn't work. Hey, let's get together. Let's figure this out. What should we do next? And we work together as a team. But if you're in charge and you kind of like, I don't know if we should, like, man, get out of the way. Get out of the way. You know, let someone else get up there and lead, because people need that. People need a positive and a strong leader to feel secure, to feel safe. And if you're gonna be that, then be that. If you're not, then get out the way and let someone else lead. As a big thing I took away from the military, and I think that goes a lot in life. Like, go out there and make a difference. You know, go out there and lead and be a positive change, and don't let the world just happen. Don't let every stuff just occur and you just say, oh, well, I wish I could have done it. I wish I would have. No, do something. Do something about it, and be strong and stand for something, and make a positive impact. I think it helped me a lot in my life with the military, and sacrifice and loving people is the most important part of leadership. I think is what I learned a lot. Sorry, man. I never had that question before. So sorry. I didn't realize all that stuff would come out my mouth.
Yeah.
You obviously had that bottled up, huh?
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah, I love it when we highlight our parents. For you, Samson, your father was Command Sergeant Major of the Army, and the values he's taught you. And I believe Harris, your dad was all about higher education. Could you touch up on that?
Yeah, my dad, he was the first in his family of 15 kids to pursue a graduate degree out of the University of Hawaii. His mom actually passed away in Samoa while he was going to walk, but he knew that his mom would have wanted him to walk, because that's what she had looked forward to, that her son would be the first to graduate in America, right? And so he first came to BYU Hawaii. He was a teacher. He was a teacher at Viola College in Savaii. Then he came to BYU Hawaii, got his bachelor's degree, and then he pursued a master's degree at the University of Hawaii. And so growing up, that was the mantra for me, was to get higher education. But once I graduated from BYU with my bachelor's degree, I was like, F school, man. I'm not going to. not going to do this anymore. My dad kept pushing me. He was like, hey, go get your master's degree. And I was like, Dad, I ain't ever going back to BYU or any college for that matter. I'm going to just figure it out my way. And unfortunately, after several years, I was able to figure it out, right? But I love that that was his dream because it was his mom's dream. And he did it. He did what he told his mom he would do. And, you know, I did what my parents told me to do, get my college degree. But that was it for me. I was like, I'm gonna pave my own way. And it took me several years to figure it out. Yo Samo was actually one of the first things that I found success in because I tried a lot of multiple businesses. And Yo Samo was the first one that kind of gave me traction to figure out what it is I wanted. And so I ended up in real estate. And unfortunately for me, it's been a blessing, and, you know, I found a lot of success, and I've been blessed to also help quite a few other people, other Polynesians, pursue that career as well. You know, I've helped quite a few people make quite a living. I've helped other people quit their jobs because they subscribe to what it is I've been training them to do. And so, yeah, higher education is super important. Just wasn't for me. Yeah, so fortunately, I knew what I wanted, and education wasn't necessary, or higher education wasn't necessary for what it was I wanted.
I think that's a thing that is kind of unraveling in, you know, the modern day, is how much we value higher education, which is like, it's a good thing, it's a noble thing to pursue, but we've seen as times have changed, you know, maybe it's not the direct beeline to the dream job that you've always wanted. You know, like, it's kind of something that's how it's always packaged and sold to the youth since we were little kids. But
right.
You know, I've got a degree, haven't made a cent off of that, and then you know, thankfully because of the Army, I'm not in debt because of it to have gotten this. So at least my useless piece of paper is not a huge amount of debt on me. You know, and I know plenty of people who do not have degrees that are very successful and very learned. You know, I know a lot of dumb educated guys, a lot of smart uneducated guys. So it's like,
100.
you know, it's what there's a whole world to learn from out there. And that's not even me trying to disparage getting a degree, but I mean, even in the case of my art degree, I get questions a lot, like, how do you do this or do that? Or should I go to this school or that school? I'm like, honestly, a lot of that information's free on the internet right now, or maybe pay like $100 for a course or something. That's better than a few thousand for a quarter or something. But yeah, there's lots of ways to go about finding our way in life, and, you know, education is a good way, but it doesn't have to be the way. I also wanted to talk a bit about Samson and your dad. It's like, you know, I admire that kind of leader in the Army. You know, I just got back. I just completed ALC. I just got back from that, and I echo a lot of the sentiments that you say you learned from your dad, because it's just the whole concept of warrior leadership or servant leadership. Because for me, I've had plenty of leaders that just stomp around and be like, it's my way or the highway. And, you know, and I understand that, you know, just pick a route and we'll go that route. But sometimes it's very apparent if a leader is completely self-serving and like how he wants to appear to his leadership and whatnot, that kills the morale and it kills your drive. Because if you feel like you don't matter to them, it's like, why am I breaking my back if he has no appreciation for me? My favorite, my leaders that have gotten the most out of me are the ones that can just show me, hey, I'm here and I'm in it with you. And I try to pay that forward. I try to be that leader for my soldiers, and that's how I get the best out of them. It's just that whole idiom of people really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And like, that's for real. And I also think it's cool that your dad pushed the whole, he's like, hey, we got some weak officers in the Army, so you guys need to I want you to be the change I want to see. It's like, I love that, because I've had friends. I've had a specific friend who left. He was in the Marine Corps, full contract, deployed twice with them, and he loved the Marine Corps. Like he all he wanted to be when we were kids. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I might be this or that. What do you want to be when you grow up? This guy. Ever since you knew him, he wanted to be a Marine. Wow. And he did that, and he loved it. And then he got out of the Corps, and he had some issues getting his proper funding for his education. and he ended up joining the National Guard in order to continue just getting his education. That's all it was supposed to be. But by going into the Guard, it ended up like he ended up loving it more than he expected to, and down the line, it became his full-time job. He's currently in AGR, working in the Guard, and he loved the Marine Corps. He loves the Army. When I asked him, like, what's the difference between the two? What, like, now that you've had your foot in both? And he's like, the Marine Corps has got a lot of good things, and Army has some good things. And he said specifically, what I love about the Army is the NCO Corps. So it's like that's the thing that he found the most value in. And so I was like, man, that's awesome, because I know that, and not a knock on you or any other officers in specific, but I haven't had the best impression of Army officers in my personal experiences. But let me correct that also and say I have had some standout ones that have been amazing officers, but I wish they weren't so rare. And but I just love that your dad pushed that. It's like you wanted to really enforce the change you wanted to see in the organization. That's awesome.
You know what? A lot of times, I felt like I was on the wrong side of the tracks. All my friends, everyone I hung out with, I played ball with, I go eat with, NCOs. I love the NCOs, man. I feel like that was my people, man, because they're the real people. They're out there in the sticks, man, doing it. They actually put their money where their mouth is. They're out there doing this. I loved hanging out with NCOs, and a lot of times, like you said, like a lot of officers, like my peers, they're just around the colonel's desk, just trying to get him coffee, just trying to like massage his feet. I don't know what they're doing in that place, but I didn't hang around. I didn't hang around the battalion commanders or the colonel, brigade commander's office. I didn't care. I just want to be with the soldiers. I agree with you, man. NCOs is where it's at.
So I have a very important question. I believe this question is very detrimental to the growth of our podcast. Are you guys ready for it? So, do you guys have any questions for us?
Mike, I know we've met before, and Spencer, I think that's you, right? From the Fit Uso group? Spencer? Okay, yeah. Joe's brother, okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, right on. I don't got any questions right now. Milford, are you related to Nick Tiafala? The Tiafala
yeah, that's
from,
my older.
That's your older brother? Oh, that's my classmate at BYU.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Right on, Mingy. What's your last name, Mingy?
That is my last name. My first name is Atsimua. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm the only Navy guy in the room full of Marines right now. And
Hey,
all right, just put that out there,
So then that probably was my question. Which is the better branch of the military?
you're gonna start a fight up in here, dude.
Yeah. Hey, without us, man, the Army can't go nowhere.
Hey, which one is Top Gun? Because I want to be that one. Which one there?
That's Ati, man. That's Navy.
Oh,
That's
Technology.
oh, that's the one right there. I want to be Maverick.
Hey, I got two questions. Just sitting thinking. First, I find myself I rarely ever talk about being a veteran. And nowadays, I know me and Harris joking about earlier. I love to get you guys' perspective. I think for me, when I say if I ever say I'm a veteran, or I ask myself the question, so what? So I'm a veteran, so what? So I did some stuff. Am I still trying to hold on to that to get gain, or am I doing something with it to better someone else's life? This is not a knock on no one. This is just being real for my own question, and I love hearing other people's perspective. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I should be more forward with my military service. I think for me, a lot of times I feel like I did my time. Now I don't know what to do moving forward. I run a disabled veteran company, but then again, that's just helping veteran VA centers, which is good for the VA centers. But at the same time, like, man, what else should I be doing with if I claim to be a veteran? So what? How do I make this better someone else's life, and how do I pay it forward? That's the first question. I love to get you guys, because I love what you guys are doing, being a veteran, a podcast. And I think there's so much potential in that, so much power in that. And I would just love to learn from you guys. And number two, why a podcast? Like, me and Harris, we never thought about doing a podcast. We just did videos because we were, just being funny and hanging out. But I see a lot of people doing podcasts. I'm always interested. Why a podcast, and what are the goals, of short-term goals, long-term goals, everybody involved. What caused you, Spencer? I like the podcast. I want to be a part of it now. I think there's two good questions. I think that would help educate me.
So I'll answer the second question first. So the podcast first started, the boys don't know this, but I have been thinking to start a podcast for months. And I brought it up to them on a gaming lobby. We were playing Call of Duty. Right now, there's 4 of us, but there used to be 6 of us, and only 3 of us were original members, and then Spencer and Atsi joined. We started off, we wanted to discuss deep topics. We wanted to network. We wanted to do a lot of things that would involve the Samoan culture, our community. But at the time, we didn't know where the direction of where the podcast was going to go, because the boys don't know this, but I needed this podcast personally for my mental health. It's not easy thinking of suicide. I can't put a number to the amount of times that I think about suicide throughout a year. It is countless times. For me, it's therapy versus going to a counselor, because I used to see a counselor like 2 years ago. I was through a very tough spot, and a counselor managed to pull me out of it. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to start a podcast. I want to do something with my friends, right? Because we all want to do stuff with the people that we love, people that we trust. So the other reason I wanted to start a podcast was it was for me almost like speech therapy. For those who know me, I don't talk a lot. I'm an introvert. So if we were out in public, I would keep to myself. And mostly because during my childhood, I don't know if I was scared of people or I was scared to talk to people. So throughout my childhood, I was basically a mute. I spoke like maybe minimum 10 words a day when I was a little kid. So I was very shy. I was an introvert. So now that I'm an adult, I want to make up for that time. I want to be able to work on my public speaking, and it's a self-improvement for me. So
Keep your speeding private.
Yeah.
Don't speak privately.
Yeah. So on the first part of the question, as a veteran, I feel that I'm on the same page as you, Samson. When I got out up to this point, I'm still lost at what a veteran means to me, because when we joined, it was all voluntary. We joined without the thought in the back of our head that, hey, when I get out, people are going to start thanking me for my service, right? We didn't join for that reason. But I won't be able to answer your first question. Probably the others can, because I follow along the same line as you. I'm confused. The only time I would use like bring a veteran is if I'm applying for a job, because they do veteran preferences for points when you're applying for government jobs. And on Veterans Day, if I feel like it, I would go to like IHOP and use their free pancake days. So to me, being a veteran, I appreciate the service of others, but I don't know if I appreciate my own service, if you understand what I'm saying. So those are my thoughts.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for being real, man. No, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So yeah, I want to comment too along the same lines, like the so what. I think that a lot because I was in Hawaii, just balling everywhere. Tabernacle, Kamuki, Waianae, find a place and hoop, and unemployed. Then military gave me a job, steady employment, and then here we are now. Fast forward out in the military, and I got this veteran title. But what am I doing with it? And I kind of hold it in high esteem, but at the same time, knowing that I could have done much better while I was in, but just because I was that keep my head down and grind, don't ask questions type of guy, I never really put myself out there to do better and to be that better person. So there's that. I left a lot on the table from my service. And then also there's our brothers and sisters who didn't come back physically or even mentally. And I think about that a lot. So when it comes to, I'm not knocking people for their VA disabilities and whatnot, you know, get your money. But me personally, my pride, I'm breathing, I'm fine, I'm strong for a reason. I'll leave it for those who really need it. There's that. But I think one thing we can do is pass on confidence, you know, brought on from the military into, you know, our youth or even fellow adults, you know, who don't know that they're stronger than they know, who don't know that, you know, God doesn't give us anything that we can't handle, that we can't overcome these adversities. And I think that's one big thing that being a veteran can help me pass on. But yeah, you know, I'm always constantly pondering, like, you know, all right, you got this title, so what are you doing with it? You know, with great power comes great responsibility. But yeah, that was a good question, man.
I appreciate that, man. Well, thank you. Sorry if I got like too deep, but man, for me, this is a serious question. So I appreciate you taking the time to be real, because I love it, man. Thank you.
And it's a good question too, because there's a lot of perspectives that people come at this with too. Because I mean, look, I'm in here, like I'm the guy that's, you know, rocking the Army shirt and all this stuff, and it's like it's one of those things where, like, I actually always get annoyed if you ever do come across people who are like the whole "thank me for my service" kind of thing. I don't. Yep. That bugs the crap out of me. I will purposely avoid being the guy. Well, nowadays, like I try to avoid even getting on social media during Veterans Day, because I don't like people bombarding me with thank yous, and you know, I don't like changing my profile pic. But I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with that too. I'm not even trying to shame anybody who does. It's your day. Celebrate it how you will. But I think some of that comes from, like, but at the same time, while I don't like blasting it in certain areas or certain times, I also go around wearing a shirt, or I might throw a sticker on my vehicle that says U.S. Army. But the reason I do that is because it's just funny how life pans out. In my perspective, it's just something I'm proud of. You know, some people, they go places and do things. They might go to a certain school. They might go to BYU. They'll wear BYU gear for the rest of their life, or they'll slap that sticker on their car, or they'll do this job or work for this company. And for me, that route was the Army. And it's funny how things turned out that way, because when I joined the Army originally, I didn't plan on it being a long-term thing. I actually joined my Army to get money to go on my mission. Like, I was originally going to join the Marine Corps because I grew up in 29 Palms. All my uncles were Marines. I wanted to be like them. But the Marines, if they wouldn't give me time off to go on my mission until after like 3 years into my contract, then I could go on IRR and do that. The Army Reserves recruiter got a hold of me, and he's like, we understand we're recruiting in Utah, and all you 19-year-olds, all you Mormon 19-year-olds want to go be missionaries. So the Army's cutting a deal where if you enlist, go to basic training, go to AIT, now you have money in pocket, and we'll cut you your paper to go on IRR, be a missionary for 2 years, come back, and then resume your contract. Yeah. And so it wasn't even going to be much longer than my original contract. But then I got home, and, you know, I deployed a few times because I had a bunch of friends who had deployed, and I didn't feel like I had done my part. I wanted to be able to feel like I did my part when I stood side by side with my friends. And even to this day, it's one of those things where sometimes I don't feel like I've done enough. I know much better people who've given much more, and I'm just trying to show up and do my job. And it's, you know, like a lot of things come and go in life, and it's like the Army, I guess, is the thing that I planned on having the smallest part of my adulthood. It's actually been the longest running thing in my adulthood. Even though I'm a reservist, it's like, it's such a big part of my identity. I didn't plan on it being that way. I wanted to be a one and done, get out. But, you know, it's, you know, I was married for 8 years. I met my wife in the Army. I got my education through the Army. I have my most significant world experiences through the Army. So it's just, when I rep my veteran status, it's just the whole idea of I want to rep my team. It's not a, hey, thank me for my service. Hey, look at me, I'm so cool. It's more of a, I'm proud to be a part of this thing, and I like letting people know that. And that's just my perspective on how I present that. But I try to shy away from the whole, hook me up because I'm a vet thing. I feel guilty about that. I don't like playing that up, but that's just me.
Appreciate that.
This is my turn. I appreciate it for the question, Usu. Just going to the mindset, it comes down to reality of the individual, and being having that title, being a veteran, it's a niche. It's a group of guys that or group of guys or girls, his or her, that has done time. And I believe, because when I was in, like your father, I know you mentioned that he was in the medic side of things. I was a corpsman in the Navy, and a lot of the things that I saw when I was in was a lot of the transitioning folks going out, of the military. They were having a lot of hard time trying to figure out how, especially the guys that were doing 20 years, they're retiring, and individuals that were getting hurt or medically discharged while they're in the military. They were having a lot of issues, especially with the VA side. And coming down to the idea, it's, for me, I do my part. My part is to help, especially the folks that do not know how to navigate their benefits as far as the veteran status goes. I try as much as, even there's a lot of old folks that I play golf with. Even when I was in Hawaii, all my uncles, they were in the military 10, maybe 20, 30 years ago, Vietnam era, Korean era. They got out, they were just pretty much thrown on the side of the road. And a lot of, the government, they did their time. They come back and they felt that the government wasn't, taking care of them. So as a veteran, my part, when I got out, I felt that, I always want to help, a lot of these guys out, even till now, I'm helping out a guy, 2 or 3, right now here in Texas, trying to get, their benefits as far as the medical side goes. And these are guys that served 25 years, 30 years, in the military. And to me, it comes down to this. If you did not graduate boot camp, you're not a veteran. To me, I'm sorry, that's my opinion. Anybody out there that wants to debate against that, I'm down with it. But if you served one time, one year, 2 years, and you get out of the military, you did your time and you are considered a veteran. There's no shy about that, because that title is given to you if you have served in the United States military. And that title is something that, you could be proud of. You could do whatever you want with it. I don't care if you go eat for free every Veterans Day. I don't care if you go to the VA and, they don't want to see you, you have the right. And that's the right that, that Uncle Sam affords us when you get out the military. And, it's sometimes it's, it's one of those things where, people could debate back and forth on, hey, am I going to go out here and celebrate this and that? The guys mentioned. But to me, as a veteran myself, I try as best as I can to help out the generation that came before me, and with a lot of the questions they have, and to navigate the system that we call the VA today. And the VA today, a lot of people don't know about it, but they were actually a war insurance, company way before it was called the VA today. Well, what they were doing back in the day was they were trying to save the military money. So by saving the military money, they were, disproving a lot of or denying a lot of the vets, their rightful benefits as far as the medical side goes. So understanding that history, and me being here today, I feel that's my part to help any veteran that comes, across my way. And, it's my opinion. I really appreciate you for the question. On the side note, as far as the podcast, the reason why I joined the podcast was many reasons. I believe that the guys that initially started the podcast, they had a driven mindset of, engaging the Samoan community. understanding that, we are all different people. We're not the same. We are of different backgrounds, and having somewhat of a voice to those that don't understand the Samoan culture, don't understand the Samoan language. Me being on a podcast, I could, help, those that maybe can see from a different perspective. My voice and, everybody's voice is important. And starting a podcast, from the perspective that these guys, Tan, brought up, was initially, I came across it because we were talking about whether, Samoans should be, United States citizens or not. That's the topic that's still debatable today. And, those are all the topics that I believe that we as Samoan people should come to understand, and that, we should be aware of it, and it's our duty to try to help one another, in that way. I know I'm kind of getting sidetracked here, but, it's just, that's just my take on it. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment, share or like, let me know. Appreciate it, Sam.
Thank you, fellas. No, thank you for the honest feedback, man. No, that's heartfelt, man. I think a lot of times I don't want to take advantage. It's probably my biggest thing. I don't want to be like, hey, I'm veteran, I want the free food, like I got to do something more than that, is what I always kind of ask myself. So that's great, man. Thank you guys. Thanks for taking the time to give a honest answer on that. Appreciate that. Sorry, Harris. My man. So you got deep real fast on one.
I'm fascinated. I appreciate you guys sharing that under your guys' service.
We appreciate you, Harris. And on top of that, I know you didn't get your opportunity at the beginning to, I guess, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Harris Nawina Mata'afa. I was born in Tua CV Hospital in Savai'i. But when I was maybe 6 months old, my parents went to BYU, Hawaii. So I was raised in Laie. I'm a Kahuku Red Raider. And then I went to BYU, Hawaii for a little bit, met my wife there, and then kind of felt like Laie was getting too small for me. So I went to BYU in Provo and graduated with a business degree there. And then my professional background or my degree was in business marketing. And so shortly after that, I worked as an account manager for running people's social media campaigns or digital marketing campaigns. And eventually, my wife and I, we switched where she was working and I became a stay-at-home dad for 4 years. During that time, that's when Samson and I started Yo Samo. But after a while, I kind of realized, man, this stay-at-home job is the hardest job I've ever had in my life. And I don't get any money from these kids. So I quit my stay-at-home job and I picked up real estate. At the same time I did real estate, I also started working at the airport, Delta, on the ramps. And fortunately, real estate was doing really well for me. And a lot of that was because of my people who knew me from Yo Samo. And so people recognized me, hey, you're that guy's on Yo Samo. So it gave me a little bit of a jump start to my business career, just because of the notoriety. But fortunately, I had a good work ethic going into that, and I knocked doors, and I found myself quite a bit of success in real estate. And so, shout out to Yo Samo for letting me come along for the ride and allowing him to just slingshot me into the success that I found in real estate. And so, yeah, grateful to be here with you guys. Also, my village. Man, I would just say my village is Laie. I'm gonna say, even though I was born, my mom is from Lepa in Savai'i. My dad is from Folau in Savai'i. But I was raised in Laie, so I'm a wannabe Laie boy. My dad never let me be a Laie boy. He wouldn't let me get my tax. But Laie is my village, and now Eagle Mountain's my hood in Utah.
All right. Thanks, Harris, for that, brother.
Thanks, guys.
What?
Thank you guys for joining us. And as someone who would sit in the background a lot and just observe and watch people, part of the reason why I had to ask about the patriarchal blessing is just listening to the way you guys talk. You are definitely, leaders. real leaders of men, of people, just hearing the way it's authentic. Like you spoke on authenticity. You really care about the people, and that's one of the biggest things. And just the vibe you guys put out there whenever you're speaking about helping the community and uplifting others is true leadership that I recognize. So it's awesome to know that about you guys, you know, not just funny entertainers and bringing joy to the community, but you actually are out there leading. So, hey, thank you for that. It was awesome to know that. Thanks for joining. Love you guys.
I
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
that, man.
Appreciate you guys. Love you guys too, and your mission.
Love you, man. Yeah.
Sam, do you guys have any? You guys want to plug in anything before we close up?
For us?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just watch and listen to Behind the Lava Lava, man. The awesome podcast, man. No, I told you guys before, I appreciate your professionalism and the way you guys handle yourselves. It's awesome. It's next level. So we've only got a chance to go on a couple of podcasts. I've never actually listened to a podcast. I don't even know how to do that on my phone. I'm so ghetto with my, our editing is all because of Harris, because I don't know what to do with my cell phone. I feel like I just take a video or take a picture and take phone calls. So I appreciate this. I think because of you guys, I probably got to start listening to more podcasts. So thank you guys.
I love how open you guys were. You know, it's our upbringing of Samoan men. You have to be stalwart. You have to be strong. But I love that you guys can be pretty open about what your struggles were. Like, Tan, hearing you talk about the struggles with suicide. I know a lot of people who look like you, who look like me. A lot of them, they struggle. And so making it relevant, making it known that, hey, you're not alone. I think what you guys are doing is great. So big ups to you guys. You guys are doing a great thing. Keep it going. Looking forward to listening to a lot more.
Thank you, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, thank you for tuning in into this episode of Behind the Lava Lava. We want to thank you to Mr. Samson Folau and Harris Mta'apa for joining us today. Your intake and your background, we really appreciate it, especially your stories getting to you to this point. For everybody else that's tuning in, you guys have any questions, side comments, anything, whatever you want to do, hit us a comment, share, like, and you could hear us on all social media outlets. We also want to put out there that we are also a authorized reseller of Matai watches. So look out for, we have an online store prepped up for you guys. And we also might have a free giveaway. So look out for a future free giveaway for Christmas. And other than that, you guys have a good night. Take care.